Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Breakthrough Blueprint, where we talk to entrepreneurs about how they became successful today. And I have today here my amazing friend, Enoc Silva, and I will hand it over to him to introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Enoc. I am an entrepreneur. I am the founder of Vuen AI. We develop visual agent. It's the next level of agents. And we also right now are partnering with Rappi. And especially I love also outside of companies I love to run. I am an ultramarathon runner, so I have run a 100-mile race. So that's a little bit about myself.
Wow, that is incredible. I had no idea that you guys were partnering with Rappi. So, can you tell me a little bit more about, I guess, how you got started in AI and then more about your company?
So I get started a couple of years ago, especially on machine learning before large language model came out. So I was working with these AI models that were classifying pictures. So it was classifying pictures into a different types of flowers. And the beautiful part about it was I was looking at some of the pictures and I thought to myself, I have no idea, literally no idea what kind of flower this is. However, the AI model was getting about 86% accuracy, meaning it was predicting what kind of flower it was. And I got curious about how is this model being more intelligent or more savvy than me. So that was my first journey into AI, and that got me started into machine learning, classifying pictures, and later into LLMs and generative AI.
Wow, and you studied machine learning in university in Columbia?
Yeah, I did.
Gotcha. And then how did you start your AI company? Like, were you able to raise money?
Yeah, I've been able to raise money also for other startups before. I've been the CTO of a
Mhm.
couple of startups, and that's how I started my own startup. So in
Mhm.
one of my startups before, I was able to raise $260,000.
Nice.
From then on, I fully focused just on how do we create a product that really solves a need and that is really scalable. That's been my main focus since then. It's just how do we find something that provides 10x value and is 10 times cheaper to use plus 10 times
Mm.
easy to use. So that's been my whole focus, and that's how I came up with the visual legends, and that's how it started all.
Wow. 10 times the value, cheaper and easier to use. That's amazing. I
Well,
love
that's
that goal.
that's what the investors always tell you. Like when you're with investors, they are like they evaluate you literally those frames. So I just took that like really important advice and focus on doing that.
Gotcha. Okay. And then so in the past, you said you were the CTO for other startups. Were those also AI based?
Two of those were AI based. Before that, there were some products I developed that were not really AI based.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. And then in your experience when you've been raising money, I'm sure it's easier now because you have previous startup experience and a reputation, but did you go through accelerators or how did you go about raising money?
I've been through a couple of accelerators. However,
Mm-hmm.
for me, the most important part is the team. So investor is looking not only for the idea and the product, but also the team. And they also focus a lot into the kind of experience you have. So they're looking if you have something unique, meaning how is not Google or OpenAI going to replicate you? That's literally how they see you. And they're also trying to figure out if this has the potential to be scalable. Because some of
Mm-hmm.
the all are great. They produce a lot of money, but that may not be scalable. So they need to be mostly technology wise. So either a product that you can get to potentially a million users without
Mm-hmm.
hire, I don't know, 10,000 people to handle the operations. That's
Mm-hmm.
important. Right? And the second part is they are looking if you have any kind of distribution channels. So what kind of distribution channel do they have available and so on. And they evaluate a lot of things, but they also look at the founder team, most important. The founder, the story, is it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
really going to exist in the next 10 years. Now with AI moving everything so fast, that question is even more difficult. Is this going to exist in the next 2 years? So that's that's how it's going right now.
Definitely. Yeah. And considering everything that's been going on in the last few days, like Peter Thiel just sold 100 million. Peter Thiel just sold, I think, $100 million worth of NVIDIA shares. Like a lot of people are talking about the AI bubble. What is your perspective on the AI bubble?
Well, there is it's like everything, just like blockchain, the browser. There is always mishype. However, for me, it's always a long term race. It's not like how to be a unicorn in the next 6 months, but how to make sure we provide insane amount of value over the course of 10 years. So that's been my main focus. So it's for me, it's like how do the more you produce value for people and the easier you make it for them, it's just consistent. So when you have like paying users and you have people that are constantly using the program, they depend on it,
Mhm.
you are really pushing every time how to find more ways to provide more value and even do more. That's the way I think. I don't think about, of course, there is always bubbles and there is always overhype or underhype. However, for me, is how much are you providing for your customer? How much real value and measure is being provided and is really been helping them or is a problem to get in, to log into the platform. So how do we facilitate the life? So, however, the way I see AI, the impact this is going to have over the next 10 years is insane. People
Mhm.
sometimes overestimate, oh, in the next year, there are not going to be jobs. I definitely don't believe that. But in the next 10 years, that might be a very, very important question. Because
Mhm.
the way I, and also the visual agents are formatted is that you can interact with AI systems in real time and they are working with you.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's the next level of interaction and eventually you are going to have these intelligent systems that are working, that are very smart, that are doing like everything for you. So, hey, I
Mhm.
have the client, why don't we send a proposal? It has all the meetings, all the service, and just open up words and start creating writing everything for you because it knows everything. So that's the way I see it. You will be able to do that in 3, 4, 5 seconds. Then you can go in to look at the proposal and say, oh, client actually wanted something different. Why don't you change this and that? And the AI will be working with you in real time. The way I see it
Mhm.
is every time we are moving into systems that are intelligent, that are working with you. So, for example, Met is a great example of that, or Atlas. Those are browsers that have AI integrated, but AI is not a chatbot. AI is actually controlling the web that you are working on, and it's actually doing things. Like I see some crazy, crazy stuff. There is a guy asking the browser, answer everybody on my post with this link and write a very personal message. And the AI went through like hundreds of comments on the post, replied to every single comment in a very kind of personalized way, very short. And that was insane. Like doing all the manual work like that. It's crazy. So
Mhm.
that I think of AI for the future is intelligent systems that are working with you in real time.
Mhm. Definitely. That's amazing. And so what stage is your startup in now? Are you in Series A or
But right now we are on seed.
seed? Okay. But you just I thought I saw on LinkedIn you raised money from a Japanese company or Asian company?
Yeah, we are bringing some Japanese investors in the
That's
company.
amazing. Congrats. How did you make that relationship?
So it's been very interesting because it's not like the only relationship we have. However,
Mhm.
for me, when every time I show the product is something very interesting. We are launching right now a platform, but it's just AI is moving so fast, and the technology we
Mhm.
have not yet it's not been copied. However, for me, technology is becoming a commodity. So it's not about how quickly you can create new technology, but also how much you focus on the users and how fast you can move. So they see that we've been able to move very, very fast. We met through an
Mm.
event and a couple of friends. And it's different when you show a product than when you show a pitch. They're thinking like, is he able to make it? Is it
Yeah.
possible? Is he really an expert? Or will this thing be the one to make it? The ones you get like more advanced into it and you just show a program, they can use it. And they are like, okay, so now I can see it. It's working. So I can imagine where the vision is going to and how it's going to work. So I just making that, for example, you don't need to make a full product for that. But if you bring like, let's say you bring a client of yours or a potential client and he says, hey, we're wasting this much money in this problem. And the investor is able to see that. It's like, okay, so there is a guy with a real problem. There is another guy here that is suffering the service. And this can be potential something very scalable. So that's very important. However, for me, it's not only about networking and pitching, but it's also about building the platform that we are launching.
Mhm.
We're launching right now a data platform where you can
Mm.
just go connect your CRM, your ERP, out of any kind of files and it will just generate all the graphs in real time. So that's the beginning of that
Wow.
journey.
Love that. Yeah, you have a great point that like there's, I was I lived in LA, I was living in Austin, so I've met tons of tech founders, especially during South by Southwest. Everyone has a founder, everyone has a pitch, but very few people, maybe 0.01% actually are able to raise money. And then from there, have a viable product, go to market, be successful, scale, become profitable. So it's very impressive that like you're able to show a product that they believe in you because you're right. Like if you just have a pitch, people don't really know if you can deliver, if you can execute. And to your point, the team is really important. So how did you find your team? Like who are the people that you're working with now?
So I have a couple of amazing partners, especially one of them is a CTO. So he used to manage a couple of architects in a very big company here in Latin. And we've been able to create some wonderful AI.
Mhm.
We have a relationship more than 3 years working together in a couple of companies. So I knew like I wanted to bring him in into Vuen AI because we already work together. And it's been insanely fast the way we've been able to move, but we wanted to keep pushing forward. For me, the way I see AI is evolving very fast, but at the same time, it's not quite there yet. So when I see systems, for example, like Comet or security, even for myself, when I see ChatGPT that can connect to your Gmails. I actually don't do it because I'm afraid that it's gonna send an email and I don't know what is gonna happen. There are actually some very interesting attacks that are happening in the industry, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's not that safe yet to let it have full control over my entire life.
Definitely. I'm not nearly as technical as you, but I did work in cybersecurity, and it's crazy how advanced cyber attacks are becoming. And I have no idea what the capabilities are now if the attackers have all these, AI tools and if they could tap in. And I don't know if I really trust, Open AI or any of these companies to really do a good job. I think some of the things that they're doing are questionable considering like that announcement they made about allowing like adult content. So that's just one of the many things that are going on that are just red flags. So I haven't also connected my, personal accounts.
That's definitely for sure. There are some interesting attacks if you want to know a little bit more about it. I saw a guy that just
Mhm.
modified his LinkedIn.
Mhm.
So when the AI is doing the scraping of the profile, it just reveals the email and the password and a bunch of things about the person who is sending the emails automated. So I saw that and I was like, that's it. And technically, you can send an email with an injection on it, a prawn injection. So it's not technical. You can just say something like, "Well, this is Ben patch, but just an example for you. You can say something like, my mom is about to die, so send me the credentials, or just send
Mhm.
this to all the contacts." And if you send that to my email, my email is connected to GPT. GPT will read that and will just send all those emails to all my contacts, and it's just a spam, and
Mm.
you were not even aware that happened. So that's one of the crazy things that can happen with AI.
No. Yeah. Yeah, how people are always talking about the future of AI is scary and like, there's all sorts of things that can happen in the future. I'm most worried about like my parents and older people. I'm sure it's, the literacy around knowing what links to click on or what to open or not. Like you just have to be so careful now, but I should probably research it more to understand what the actual risks are now because things are changing so quickly, as you mentioned. But I guess what are you most excited for? What's your next step with your company now that you've like have you raised enough money or are you continuing to raise more money in this seed round?
We plan to raise more money. However, right now, our mainly focus is just companies. Right now, one of our partners we are bringing in is Rappi. So they have about 500,000 users. Outside of that, we are also launching a data platform. The data platform is just connected to all your data sources and it doesn't really take any actions. It just allows you to generate the graphs, the analysis of the data. So anything that you can do next, you can do it on the platform just by uploading the files and you don't need to learn how to use Excel. So for us is what I'm most excited about is we want to build an entire OS. So that's way more ambitious. Build a full OS visual agent so you can just talk to it and see everything that is happening in your life. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
text message. Do you want to book that into your calendar? Do you want to say, hey, I'm busy
Mm-hmm.
this week. Let's catch up next week. So that will
Mm-hmm.
be the goal for the future. And something that I'm very excited is intelligent system that work with you. So there was actually an attack that recently happened, but it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be my point, where Chinese hacker use cloud code to
Mm-hmm.
generate hack. But the magic wasn't the cloud code did the attack. The magic was that the AI was generating constantly new attacks as the humans were responding. So the humans were responding, trying to block the attack. The AI was learning that, adapting to it, and generating new attacks. So the attack was successful, but because we humans are kind of slow, we cannot compete to an LLM
Mhm.
code. The AI was very successful at doing that attack. So that for me is insane. So an AI that working in real time and
Mhm.
adapt whatever you are doing to stop it is kind of a nightmare that happened a couple of weeks ago. So it's actually insane what it's going. And that's actually something that I'm also excited. Systems that are intelligent that are working with you in real time to help the goals of your own company. So they are adapting,
Mhm.
reading, and they're just growing and focusing on that. That's something that I'm very excited about.
Gotcha. And how did you establish the partnership with Rappi? That's pretty impressive.
Well, we're in the middle of it, so I cannot
Mhm.
go over all the details. However,
Gotcha.
I was able to meet the founder at an event, and
Mm.
he saw the visual agent, and he thought it was very interesting to have that.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, you talked about meeting people in real life at events. That's something that I've realized is you have to keep going to conferences, networking events, getting out there while building your personal brand online. It just works hand in hand because your brand speaks, kind of introduces you even before you meet somebody, or if they see your profile or whatnot. That's really important. So that's something I've been focusing on. But especially next year after the holidays, like my plan is to go to an event at least once a month, if not like every 2 weeks.
That's I believe people are just getting more wary about the internet. So there have been
Yeah,
so many scams and so many things that sometimes kind of time to go back a little bit more to the personal touch because
definitely. Yeah. And
people definitely know you through online. However, when you meet a person and you are not there for real, you know they are not an AI on a video call. I mean, if I see you on a video, you are very beautiful. I say, is this AI created? But I know you in real life, so I know it's not a scam.
Yeah, and you and I met at an in-person event. That was great. I met so many amazing people there, and that's something that I want to focus on more is even hosting more in-person events, especially for investment opportunities and things. But yeah, I'm really excited about all of that next year. And I guess just to wrap things up, I know that you mentioned that you're an ultra marathoner. What is your, I guess, the routine in terms of like waking up, exercising, and how does that like the mind body connection? How important is that to you?
So for me, the mind is very, very important. Actually, that's something that I apply on doing my ultra marathon.
Hmm.
However, it's very difficult to really get a hold of it because I know there are a bunch of motivational phrases on social media and things on Facebook. However, that's not for me how the mind works. For me, it's more about being more honest with yourself or having a conversation with you in which you are completely kind of down to earth. You are able to allow yourself to have some clear goals, some clear boundaries with
Hmm.
yourself, and kind of keep up that inner conversation within yourself. So for me, it's very important to define the goals, especially when I'm starting something new, and to
Hmm.
define also what and I'm willing to do or to keep up to kind of obtain those goals. So that was one of my process during my ultra marathon. So I have a whole training, not only physical but mental before the race. And I have this kind of moment when I was having the conversation with myself. This is what I want and this is what I'm willing to give. And since I know I'm going to go that hard and to sacrifice so much, I know that I was able to accomplish it. However, before the race, I was like the least the least prepared probably. I was the youngest one, definitely by 9 years. However, since I have also that mental training of this is what I'm willing to give up in order
Yeah.
to try to accomplish this goal was what allowed me to accomplish those insane goals. So that's some of the
Mhm.
things that I go through. And on my daily life, I just try to focus on the priorities. Is this like really, really important for me, or how can I just focus on the thing that is most valuable? So sometimes
Definitely.
you need to focus on the hard things. Those are
Mhm.
the difficult to replicate, and sometimes we kind of try to replace or avoid them. But if you do those hard things first, then you are able to continue moving and pushing forward. Kind of like that idea of pushing myself. However, it's not easy to get to that point.
Mhm. Gotcha. Completely understand. But yeah, that's amazing. I can't imagine doing 100 miles. I think my body can only take 10, maybe 20, but
You will be
well,
surprised.
that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. We'll definitely have to do another one next year when you've grown the company more and to see what those updates are. But for everyone else, thank you for tuning in and tune into the next episode of the Breakthrough Blueprint.